Hey friends! Alright, I changed it up a little bit, took my hat off. I got out of the shower, so I'm trying to let my hair dry. But I wanted to talk to you about the way I've been eating on the truck. And let's just be honest, you probably noticed through the videos, I was gaining weight. Early on, I talked about how I had put on weight, and then I was working to take it back off, and I gave up sugar, and when I look back, my skin was horrible. Well, I was stressed, from being in training. But at that time, I was like eating Lunchables, bags of chips. And early on, I talked about like I couldn't get my eating window under control. Like I felt like I was eating 24 hours. Anyway, I talked a lot about that. And then I thought that I got it under control, right? And then I think what happened was I got comfy. It's never good when you get comfy, right? So when I was home on the summer and we went to the cabin, I kind of noticed like it was creeping up on me, and I was like, oh, dang, I gotta do something about this. And I just really didn't at that time, right? I just kind of kept up with what I was doing. I thought to myself that, oh, I got my eating window under control. Like if I woke up when I was in the bunk, on my 10-hour rest break, early on, I would get up and eat something. And so I made a conscious effort. Nope, I'm supposed to be sleeping. I don't care if I'm hungry, I'm not eating. Well, I think that worked a little bit. But for whatever reason, Sheila and I were home the end of September, I think it was. She had something going on, I can't remember, but we were there for a couple days. And I knew that at the end of October I was getting married, and I went, no, siree, not looking like this, I'm not. So I did a ton of research, and I wasn't looking for a quick fix. I wasn't looking for drop weight quickly, you know what I mean? Like all of those things. I was really looking for something that would work for me, that wouldn't take a lot of work, and that I could feel good about. So I found what works for me, right? And you may have heard about it, but it's the ketogenic diet, or keto. There's lots of different versions of it. There's some that's called like strict keto or dirty keto. The whole idea is that you restrict your carb intake. And let me tell you, folks, my favorite popcorn, other than the popcorn that I make on the stovetop at home, because I can make some popcorn. I can also eat a ton. I'm like a bowl like this, mounted like this. So think of like this big, I can eat all that by myself in one night. I can put away some popcorn. It's really sad that I'm admitting this, but it's true. So I found that I was eating, and my favorite popcorn, I don't have it here, but it's in a black bag, and it's called like Smart Choice or something like that. It's usually white cheddar. You guys, I was eating a bag of that a day out here. Yeah, and I would typically do it after my shift was over, before I went to bed, while I was watching Netflix. And that popcorn, I mean, you think that popcorn sounds healthy, and I'm sure it can, but it literally went straight to my gut and straight to my shoulders, and then of course my face. And I was in a bad spot, like how I felt about myself. So when I researched ketogenic, it's all about healthy fats, right? Good, healthy fats, some moderate proteins, and then low carbs, so less than 20 grams of carb a day. Now, I will admit that I do not track my macros. And by macros, I mean how much nutrients of each of those categories I'm putting into my body. So do I know how much fat I'm putting into my body by grams? No. By proteins? No. By carbs? No. But I don't really want to do that right now. I don't want to completely stress myself out about this new way of eating, which if you see on Facebook, WOE, that's way of eating. That's what that means. So when I came back out after home time in September, I seriously got into this. Like, I cooked all of my meats when I was at home and brought those onto the truck so that all I had to do was warm them up. So I had everything from like steaks to roast that I had done to I bought some rotisserie chicken and deboned it. I had, a ton of bacon, just everything. And I'm telling you what, and I really watched my carbs. Like, was I craving popcorn? Oh, yeah. Was there days that I was angry that I was choosing not to have popcorn? Oh, yes. Yes, there were days that I was just, it took me everything I had to walk past the popcorn and get hard-boiled eggs. But I did it, and I did it over and over and over again. And it worked out. Like, I had dropped some weight, and I dropped inches before the wedding, and I personally thought I looked beautiful. I looked how I wanted to look, and it paid off. And it was because of the way I switched my eating. Now, when I was home for the wedding and the cruise, before I came back out in the truck again, because I knew I would be gone till February, I did the same thing. I cooked all my meats. I brought frozen veggies, all of those things, and I stayed away from the carbs. So how do I stay away from the carbs? I fill up on good stuff. So I do have the bulletproof coffee. So if you've never heard of that, you can find it all over the internet. One of my favorite things in my coffee, hot coffee, because I will tell you that I'm on a cold coffee kick too, but in my hot coffee, I use grass-fed butter. So like usually you see it like Kerrygold, and the best place that I found for pricing on that is truly at Walmart. It's like $2.19 or $2.29, something like that. If you go to like Whole Foods, it's $6. So some people have a stigma about shopping at Walmart. Well, I do not, when they carry the same brands of the same quality for lower prices. I mean, that's a fool. If you can't figure that one out, that's a fool. So in my coffee, I will have, and I'm talking like this big mug. It's got to be what, 32, what is it, 26 ounces. So 26 ounces. I will have a tablespoon of grass-fed butter, and I also put in MCT oil, and that's a derivative from coconut oil. I do have unrefined coconut oil on the truck as well. I just don't always care for the coconut taste. So I will use MCT oil, which is kind of like brain food, right? It's this, I'll show you the kind that I use. Hopefully the rest of the stuff won't fall out of the cupboard. And I personally buy mine at Amazon. So this is the type that I get. And I can't remember. I'm not even going to guess at the price because I can't remember if it was, I can't remember. But this is the unflavored one. So I can put this on my salads because this is considered a healthy fat, right? It's an oil. So the keto way of eating doesn't mean it's like when you think of Atkins, it's like meat and cheese layered in mayonnaise. Certainly you can do that, but you've got to have the healthy fats. You've got to have veggies as long as they're low carb. So otherwise you're just doing more harm to your body. So just do a lot of research, figure out if it works for you. I love the way it works. It's cleared up my skin. And I'm full, like half the time I don't even have an appetite anymore. But let me finish the coffee. My gosh, I'm like shiny light, bright shiny light. I'm all over the place. And then I used to love Splenda. I mean, I probably still do love Splenda, but I understand that it's got a certain sugar in it that will spike your insulin levels, and the whole idea is to keep your insulin levels even keel so that you go into ketosis. And I don't nearly have the nutritional education and background to explain all this to you. Like I said, do your research. But I switched over to stevia extract because it's not supposed to spike your insulin. There's also erythritol, which I will use, and that's another sweetener. So this is the kind that I have, and I did get this at Whole Foods. And this is 8 ounces, and I think this was like 17 bucks. And I'm almost out, which I'm a little sad about, but I have erythritol on the truck too, so that I will use that when I run out of that. But that's how I make my bulletproof, and then I'll add a little bit of pink Himalayan salt to it, and it tastes so good. And then I try not to have anything to eat for a while, like consciously, right? I really listen to my body. If I have cold coffee, of course, if you put butter in cold coffee, that is going to get a little lumpy. So you'll be having bite-sized butter or nuggets. Not what I want. So I still use the MCT oil, and I still put in the sweetener. And then if I happen to be like at a truck stop, they have the sugar-free, like those vanilla, those different syrups. I will use the sugar-free syrup, and I forget the brand that you see all over the place. But their label for sugar-free is blue, and then they'll have other syrups there that are not sugar-free. So make sure you're paying attention and grab the sugar-free one if that's your thing. Other than that, what I really enjoy eating, hard-boiled eggs or eggs of any kind. And let me tell you this, friends, I learned this. I watch a ton of videos for research, and I wish I could give someone credit, but I don't remember where I saw this, but know that this is not something that I came up with. I love omelets. Now, I love making my own omelets, but that's not always happening out here on the road because I hate cleaning up eggs after you've made them in my appliances. So if I get to like a breakfast joint, like a Denny's, iron skillet, we're truckers, you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what time of day, I will typically order an omelet. And even after keto, right? Because eggs are really good for you. I can have cheese. I watched the broccoli's really good for you on the keto diet. So I will have that. But what I found out is that many of the restaurants use an egg mix. So there is pancake mix in there so that the eggs look really pretty and fluffy. Yes, your egg has pancake mix in it. So now when I go to restaurants, I ask for a cracked egg omelet, which means that they will actually take an egg, crack it like I would here or at home, mix it up with just salt and pepper, and then make my omelet. Now, it doesn't look as pretty. It looks flat, right? I'm telling you, there's a huge difference. So now I always order cracked egg omelet, always. I'll also do beef jerky, making sure to look at the sugar content, make sure it's not too high. I'm speeding up here because I see that my time is getting close to 15 minutes. But no popcorn, no chips, no crackers, meat, really quality meats, and salads, and I have some chicken sometimes, but it's not like a high fat content meat. So if I have it, I will have it with like something that's high fat, like regular ranch. The biggest deal is not to get things that are fat free. Get your fully loaded fat type of food. Sugar-free is good, but not the other stuff. So I'm at 15 minutes. I got to go. Otherwise, I might not be able to post this. But I'll be back with my Learn from my Air. Bye.